Okay, the first modality, which is probably going to be the most common one, is the 10-week seasonal class option. And that is going to be great for content and curriculum that you're going to want the children to engage with regularly. So that could be a subject like permaculture or Kundalini yoga or poetry or writing or reading or gardening or something that they need to be continuously learning and building on the prior day's information and knowledge. And you can, depending on what you're teaching, determine whether you want them to access that curriculum 4 days a week, 5 days a week for that 10-day series, or even just 1 day a week. Something like Kundalini yoga or Tai Chi or Qigong or even like a dance would be a wonderful thing to have every day. So that could be something where you would record 40 or even 50 short 10-15 minute videos, and that would be an excellent series for a Kundalini yoga class or a dance class. And then something like permaculture, maybe you have them learning about the foundation and the principles of permaculture 1 day a week. And so you have 10-15 minute videos. And remember, keep in mind that we talked about before, the idea of this kind of curriculum is that you create an experience for them. So you're really setting them up for giving them a little bit of information and then telling them to take off and go outside and play with what they just learned. So for example, permaculture, you would be saying, you would be like, oh, we're going to learn about pattern recognition, one of the really foundational baseline permaculture concepts. And so you could say, today we're going to go out and we're going to look at all the heart shapes we find in nature, or all the globe shapes. You can see some of the globe, hydrangeas and the tree and the cylindrical shapes or the squiggly lines, and each day give them a new one, because ideally what we want the kids out there doing is really observing nature, staying connected, and tapping into that childlike wonder and curiosity as much as possible for as long as possible. And since one of the main things that kids need to learn when they're in the younger grades is their shapes, and that's the foundation for like geometry and things like that, rather than teaching them on worksheets and in a kind of sterile environment, let's have them go experience those shapes in nature. So that is a little bit about the 10-week seasonal class. Another thing I want to remind everyone is that these 10-week classes are seasonal. So you could have a series for gardening that's like the spring 10-week gardening class, where you're teaching about soil preparation and micronutrients and planting the garden out and planting seeds and all of this early spring activities, and then do a summer series and then a fall series and even a winter, if that makes sense, or maybe just the 3 seasons. So keep the seasonality part in mind. That's going to become really helpful for when the classes are being chosen by their parents and by the students. They want to be able to pick the kind of activity that makes sense for where they're at in the year.